Each and every day, enjoy the Simple Six menu at Subway. An entire made-for-you meal featuring one of 6 6-inch sandwiches like the Italian BMT or Black Forest ham, with any bag of chips and a 21-ounce drink, all for only $6. Subway. Eat fresh.
The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects. The BS Report. The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report. We have Cousin Sal and JackO on today. We talked about some stuff that we don't know if you want to skip around. So here's the agenda. First 30 minutes, Cousin Sal and I rehash our trip to SummerSlam in Los Angeles last night. So if you want to skip that and you want to hear us talk about Breaking Bad in the NFL, go to the 30-minute mark of this podcast. And then at the 50-minute mark, our buddy JackO comes in, and we talk about A-Rod and the Yankees, Red Sox, and everything that happened last night. That is at the 50-minute mark. Or, I have an idea. You could just listen to the whole podcast. Anyway, here we go. We're calling Cousin Sal first. Last night, SummerSlam was in Los Angeles. I took my 2 kids. My son is suddenly a John Cena fan. Sal took his 2 kids. His oldest son is a gigantic John Cena fan. So we decided to go to SummerSlam. And Cousin Sal... we did pretty well. I feel good about our parenting for those 3-4 hours.
I don't know. I don't even really remember being there with them. So once I'm at a wrestling event, I'm so focused. And yeah, I guess there were kids around us, but there were a few tears, thankfully. Very emotional event.
Yeah, we had multiple kids cried.
My son and your son are big John Cena fans. And John Cena is now 0-3 in events that my son has attended. So we may have to try something else.
Yeah, it was a little different. My son jumped on the bandwagon about 3 or 4 months ago once he found out that Fred. Actually, they found out a little earlier, actually, that Fred's dad was a wrestler in WWE.
Right.
And then a couple of times I was watching and they got excited that he was involved, and then they just kind of gradually got sucked in, and it got to the point where my son and I watched the entire Monday Night Raw last week.
Yeah.
So then seeing Cena in person for me was the final piece of the puzzle. I've talked about this before. Really the goal when you hit your 30s and 40s and you have children, if you're a wrestling fan, is you want your kids to like wrestling because then you can still get the pay-per-views without causing any marital strife, right?
Absolutely.
And so I would always get WrestleMania and maybe SummerSlam. And my wife was always bummed out by it. Like, really? Like, what are you doing? And I'd be like, I might write about it, but I'd never read about it.
It's going to be tough when we're in our 60s. I guess we'll have to adopt, we have to go overseas and adopt kids. So, just to keep the wheel rolling a little bit.
Right.
But
these are the gravy train years, though. Like when they're like, my son's 5.5, your son's 8.5.
Mm-hmm.
But, now it's just, hey, we got to get the pay-per-view. Our son's really fired up for this one. Anyway, seeing Cena in person was the final piece of the puzzle. My son was actually almost went catatonic when he came out because he's heard the entrance song so many times. When it happened, he was a little overwhelmed. He wasn't even reacting. I got scared.
Yeah, the song is great. Well, first of all, it was the last match. So by then, I think the kids just went deaf anyway from all the entrance music. And there's fireworks. And we try to time the fireworks because we kind of know when they're coming, to coincide with the wrestler's entrance. But you can't stress how loud these fireworks are and unexpected. Yeah. When it happens, sometimes they'll throw it in the middle. Plus, there was a Ring of Fire match, which that's something else to see. I really think Vince McMahon at some point is just going to pay enough money to get a tornado into an arena one night. And fire around the ring, it's so dangerous, and you couldn't take your eyes off it. It was great.
The best thing, so the Ring of Fire match was the first match. It was between Kane and one of the Wyatts. Who, if you don't follow wrestling, the Wyatts are this new family of bad guys. They're
hillbilly family, yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of like crazy hillbillies.
Right.
And so they had a fire around the ring. Now, the fire never really got involved in the match at any point.
No.
It just whenever somebody got slammed down on the mat, the fire would go shoot up. And it sounds really stupid, but for any kid under 9 years old, riveting.
Yeah. I think it was meant to keep there's 3 Wyatts, and only one of them was wrestling, and it was to keep the other 2 Wyatts from interfering.
Was that? So there was a real reason.
Yeah, because they kept trying to get in and they couldn't. Then the fire would jump up and everything. I mean, you'd think they could have just tied them backstage and not risked burning down the whole Staples Center. But
I feel like Uncle Frank. Oh, okay, I got it. I understand. So started out with Ring of Fire, and it moves pretty fast at 3 hours. I got to say, like, baseball is obviously the worst sporting event that you can take your children to.
Yeah.
Hockey, I think, is the best of the 4 professional sports. Football is surprisingly not good because there's just so many TV timeouts.
Right.
And basketball is good. It can drag a little bit at times, but if it's a good game and the crowd's into it, it can be really fun.
Well,
wrestling,
unlike hockey and basketball, like there's no intermission. But I think the way to test it is, okay, how many opportunities do I have to go get a $45 T-shirt,
right.
For the kids and nachos maybe if the line's not too long. And there weren't too many. Like you could maybe skip the girls' match or something. But yeah, you're right. It flowed nicely.
Yeah, I made a run during the second match, Cody Rhodes against somebody, and because I really wanted to get my son a championship belt.
Right.
And it really was the gift that I don't think he's let it go yet.
No, I
know. Very excited. He thinks he's an official champion. And I got my daughter an Icy Coke, which is, like giving Jesse from Breaking Bad like a little crystal meth. Like you just want to keep him focused.
Well, it's nice, but let me warn you now. You got your son the $30 belt, and it's a matter of time before he sees that there's a $200 belt and a $475 belt. I shouldn't even call it belt. The wrestlers get very upset when you call it belt. It's supposed to be a strap or title. But,
strap?
Yeah. So for Christmas, you're laying out maybe 3 or 4 bills for something that looks more authentic.
Well, I noticed a couple of fun gifts not gifts, but purchases in the stands. One was the kid in front of us not only had a belt, the kid who stood the whole match on his seat without his parents ever saying anything. The lack of parental control at these WWE events is fantastic.
Yeah,
people just don't care. Oh, my kid's standing up right in front of you. That's fine.
Right.
But this kid had a championship belt, and he had the Money in the Bank suitcase.
Oh, that's right. I did see that.
Oh, that was great. I love the Money in the Bank suitcase. I kind of want to get one. I'm probably going to get one online.
That should be cheap enough. That's just plastic.
It's a plastic suitcase.
They should make one in school.
So the other favorite thing I saw, it was a Latino guy, and he had the European Championship belt, which I thought was interesting.
Right. That's nice.
It's like, I mean, obviously they must make belts for every situation, right?
That's probably harder to get. Well, there's like 6 belts as it is now. So yeah, it is sort of like, it is sort of like karate for 5-year-olds. You want to keep them interested. So you give them a belt every 3 months. There's yellow, there's 4 shades of yellow. And then, you'll get a black belt in 25 years, but,
right.
To keep you interested.
So there were only a couple dead matches, like, as you pointed out, like, you almost didn't want to leave because you know where you're going to miss you next. They spread it out nicely. I guess you could have left there in the Divas match and that's when you and the kids left.
Yeah.
You and your kids.
Right.
And then the way they set it up, it has like you want it's 3 hours, so they want it to ebb and flow. So like last night, Lesnar and CM Punk was fantastic.
Really was.
And it was really, really great. And I don't know if it played as well on TV, but in the house it was great. And fans even chanted, did the "This is awesome" chant.
Yeah, and it's 45 minutes of brutality, and it's funny because I told you I showed my son Brock Lesnar. He was trying to figure out the difference between MMA and pro wrestling, and I don't want to quite pull the trigger on pro wrestling is fake, So I was like, just watch MMA.
What?
And no. I mean, I don't know that to be true. What would I know? But I'm like, just watch an MMA match, and I showed him a Brock Lesnar match for 2 minutes, and he got 30 seconds, and he's like, all right, I don't want to watch anymore.
Oh, no.
There's definitely a difference, but that was really something. And I think if you're going to learn anything from that match, never go after the bad guy's manager, because as soon as you turn around, there's going to be a chair or a punch or a foot waiting for your face, and that CM Punk fell victim to that. But now there's finally precedent for that, so no one will ever do it again.
It is funny. Like, I've been watching wrestling probably since I was 9. And the two things that just always play are the guy turning for too long with his back to the wrestler because he's mad at the manager.
Right.
And then the referee somehow getting knocked unconscious because somebody knocked into them. The two things that are just never going to end.
I mean, what if this happened in other sports? If a guy took like a 20-foot lead off of first base and tried to distract the pitch, like, oh no, he's picked off again. I can't believe it.
CM Punk, that really every generation has that guy who can carry anybody to a good match.
Yeah.
And I think the last generation was Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, you had Flair, you had Savage and Steamboat. There was a bunch of guys who could do it. Bret Hart, who I was never a fan of, but could, was good at selling other people.
Yeah.
Maybe not on the class of the other guys, but CM Punk is really the guy for this generation.
I think you said it. I mean, it's all about selling other people. Like, there's no match he can't make interesting, you know?
Yeah.
He's in with these monsters like The Undertaker or Lesnar, who's, their skills are maybe not as great as the high flyers and stuff, but he'll make them go 30 minutes and it'll look good. There won't be any it won't be sloppy at all, and he'll you never satisfied.
I don't remember Lesnar wrestling a match that was that complicated before and that long and had that many nuances to it. Yeah. So I'm going to credit CM Punk for that. And so when Jimmy Kimmel Live launched in 2003, one of the people we worked with was our beloved friend KP,
right?
Who now works for the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So she helped us get tickets and all that stuff, and she invited us backstage. So we went before, like about an hour and a half before the pay-per-view started, and we were where everybody was hanging out and eating. And the first person we see is the Beast, Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Who my son only knows as this intimidating, powerful, crazy force of nature, and kind of likes him, even though he's a bad guy.
Right.
And he's like, oh, the Beast. He's like pointing at him like he's a zoo animal. And we went up to him, and he couldn't have been nicer, and shook our hands and took a picture with our kids, and then came out 3 hours later and was a really evil bad guy.
Right.
And my kids were fine with it. Never put two and two together.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about breaking down the fourth wall, but yeah. And all the heels were very willing to take pictures, which is also a weird thing. But
it's great.
We walked in on them eating lunch. Like, there's this big catered lunch for the wrestlers about an hour before the matches, and that's what was good. Is my youngest boy just does not eat, and he's a tiny kid. I'm hoping he could wrestle like 105 pounds as a senior in high school.
Yeah.
But that was a great. That's the most positive thing I pulled from him. You see, Ryback eats like spinach and chicken and all this other stuff. I think we're gonna try the wrestler's diet for a little while.
We saw the great Khali was just sitting at a table. And him sitting down was bigger than any of our kids and close to being as big as us.
Definitely. And he wasn't even on the card. They have guys, I think they make everyone on the roster show up just in case something bad happens. Like, I don't know, like 8 wrestlers that immediately go on fire for no reason.
Right.
And he was just sat there and ate, and then we saw him leave. We pulled out a lot at the end. So.
See, we were talking about this afterwards. It does seem like they should just have a battle royal.
Yeah.
And just take care of business and get 20 people involved and something, just so all these people who's against the battle royal. I don't think I've ever been like, oh no, there's a battle royal and I'm not going to watch this.
Yeah, let that be the first match, the battle royal.
So
if you put fire around it, it's even better.
The other person we met backstage was Triple H, who I had actually, and this is coming out on Grantland this week. So Triple H was across the street in LA last week. From our Grantland office, and he was going in to meet David Shoemaker, who's the masked man who writes about wrestling for us, does a great job. And he was just going to come in, and there was possibly maybe an interview or something like that. And I showed up at the office. I had a salad. I had a super salad that I'd gotten and picked up, and I had a Perrier. I had a sparkling water Perrier. And I show up, and I'm talking to Shoemaker, and then all of a sudden Triple H is there with one of the WWE PR guys, and they're like, we're just going to chat in the conference room. I was like, well, come in my office. Right. I didn't even know he was doing an interview. Right. So we sit down, we start talking, and Triple H knows who I am from NBA show, I guess. And we're sitting in, and at some point, Shoemaker turns the tape recorder on, and we end up doing this 90-minute joint interview with Triple H, and it's amazing. And it's really going to be like one of the best things we've run on Grantland this year, especially if you're a wrestling fan. Just goes into all these nuances and all this. And the whole time he's talking about the business, I'm eating a super salad and drinking a Perrier. And I know deep down he's thinking like, oh man, what a disappointment this Simmons guy is. But,
yeah. Well, then you brought it up to him yesterday.
Yeah, and he knew it was a callback, and he knew what I was talking about immediately.
Yep.
But so anyway, he couldn't be nicer. He's really, really smart guy, like really shrewd about the business.
Yeah.
And then at the end in the main event, he's the referee, turns on Daniel Bryan right after Daniel Bryan wins the title, clotheslines him from behind, and then Randy Orton comes flying in to get the Money in the Bank suitcase and steals the title. It was great. It was
Double
just
cross.
a great ending.
And
That was awesome.
Let me tell you, I know if people don't follow too closely, like this Daniel Bryan he's all of a sudden he's like an undersized vegan wrestler. That's his gimmick, and he's got this thing where he chants yes, 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 and the crowd just loves it. How many yes signs were there? Like John Cena's supposed to be the hero, the kid's hero, but there were 1,000 to 1 Daniel Bryan signs to John Cena signs yesterday, and it's just weird, like two good guys going against each other. And then what was I going to say? And then he wins the title, Daniel Bryan. So you think 90% of the audience would be happy with that? The pageantry of all the confetti falling and the pyrotechnics, and then a double cross, and Daniel Bryan, like you could have been walking out of the arena and not seen Daniel Bryan get beat up by the special ref, Triple H, and then Randy Orton comes in and pins him because he has this Money in the Bank case, which allows him to wrestle Daniel Bryan or the champion at any time. So, and the crowd was just as delighted at the double cross, even though the fan favorite lost.
It was great, and so Triple H is the guest referee, and we're like, he's going to get involved at some point. And you just you're always on the lookout with the guest referee, right? He's always, I'm going to watch this guy. What is this guy up to? So then the whole match goes through, nothing happens, and Daniel Bryan beats Cena. And when he got the 3 count, you actually went, oh! You let out some weird noise I've never heard you make before.
Well, it was strange because they had each tried their finishing moves on each other like 3 or 4 times at that point. And then it was something just weird, like a kick to the head, and Cena was pinned. But it made sense then when you learn the rest. So go ahead.
So then Daniel Bryan wins, and it's like, it's always good it's always fun to be there when somebody wins the title for the first time.
Definitely.
It's always like for wrestling, it's a great moment.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's chanting, yes, he's on the top ring. The fans are going nuts. Everybody hates Cena now. Confetti comes down. We're all waiting for Randy Orton to come out because, as you said before, they have this Money in the Bank. That was one of the last pay-per-views. You win it. Whoever wins Money in the Bank, they get this suitcase. They can cash in that suitcase for a match on the spot, and it can be anywhere, right? Like the guy could be eating dinner and you'd have to wrestle the guy.
Exactly.
So Randy Orton comes out.
Yeah.
Randy Orton comes out. He's about to get in the ring. Everyone's fired up. Bryan's calling him out, and Randy Orton decides no. He turns around, starts walking away. And then it was set up from the camera angle. The pay-per-views always end this way, where you think like, so this is to be continued tomorrow on Monday Night Raw. Then all of a sudden, Triple H with the clothesline.
Yep.
And it was great. And Randy Orton comes in, pins him. Great ending. Really, really good.
I mean, and this is 10 minutes, right? A good 10 minutes after Bryan pinned Cena. So there's all this celebration. I mean, let it be a lesson. If you're going to win and someone's holding a Money in the Bank suitcase, just run out of the arena as soon as you can. Don't worry about bowing to the crowd. Get out of
there. Yeah, don't try to represent.
Yeah, you get too greedy.
So I wanted to talk about this, though. This is one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, other than to rehash SummerSlam, because I had a good time. So our kids are there. Archie's seen your older son Archie has seen Cena now 3 times. He's lost all 3 times. Cena, very polarizing. One of those guys, he's a good guy. He always tries to do the right thing. And the wrestling community, they're just tired of him being the champ.
Too much of a superhero.
Yeah, too much of a superhero. They feel like the WWE's pushed him down their throats like broccoli. Mm-hmm. So they're always rooting for whoever the guy, the opponent of the moment is. They're always rooting for that guy. Yeah. So my kids, you can't really tell through the TV like how against Cena the crowd is.
Yeah.
And they're there, and Daniel Bryan comes out, and everybody's going bonkers. Then Cena comes out. It was like 85% booze, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the kids that are hanging on to it. Adults are louder, so yeah. Yep.
So my kids who didn't know this was coming are just like, just shell-shocked. I think that's actually why my son was so shell-shocked. He didn't understand why everybody was booing his favorite wrestler.
Right. I mean, it is weird. It's like if you went to Fenway and, Big Papi just, got booed off the field. Like, you wouldn't know what hit you. Yeah.
And what's cool about it, and this is one of the ways that I think wrestling has evolved, is that WWE kind of owns it, right? Like, Cena's never broken. It would be so easy to just make him a bad guy.
Yeah.
But they don't do it, and part of the reason they don't do it is because the kids gravitate toward him the same way your son did and my son did.
Right.
There's something about him that kids just gravitate toward,
right? And
they kind of own that. And it's like this guy who's a good guy, but he's actually kind of secretly a bad guy because everybody's rooting against him.
Yeah.
And I just don't think there's ever been another guy like him.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think did that people get sick of Hulk Hogan? Like Hulk Hogan was that they might have gotten sick of him, but he was never booed as a baby face, as a good guy, right?
No, there were two times. One was with Macho Man Randy Savage.
Right.
I felt like if you had done a straw poll of all right, everybody pick who you're for here, everyone would have said Savage.
Yeah.
But nobody really, you weren't booing against Hogan. People were more cheering for Savage. And then the Ultimate Warrior, that one WrestleMania was the one time I remember it really did seem like people had tired of Hogan.
That was big too. Yeah. But I mean, to chant, they never chanted Hogan sucks, right? They never, and we had Cena sucks the whole time there. And he
not just so that, but they had the "You Can't Wrestle" chant, which really cuts deep.
Yeah, that's insulting. That's insulting to me.
You can't tell John Cena can't wrestle,
right? But
I mean, they manage
I think they could do what they want with them. I know I would be freaking out if I was running the WWE and our hero, the guy who's he goes overseas and hangs with the troops, and you get all these photo ops, and is integral to their Make-A-Wish program and everything, and all of a sudden he's being booed by everyone. I would be like, oh, wait a minute. But they, like you said, they embrace it. They have him go up against fan favorites. They don't even try to create a villain. It'd be easy enough to have him go against this crazy hillbilly family who scares the hell out of everybody, and then he would just have to be cheered, But no, they really test it. They put him up against other baby faces, and at the end of the day, it works out.
And as you said, it's really not even a choice for the crowd. You're always going to root for an undersized vegan, overachieving wrestler.
Right.
The vegan part is the best part. That actually became part of his package.
I know. That's big. Who even knows if it's true? And I think
I'm undersized.
I think they made him eat a steak 3 weeks ago too. I don't know if you saw one of the promos. It was weird.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah. He had a cool.
Well, they had a great promo on Monday Night Raw when they on Monday night, and he called John Cena. He said he's a parody. He's like, I don't want to end up a parody like you. And it felt like it got really intense and personal, which is always when wrestling gets fun, when you don't know what's real and what's not real.
Yeah, but it is hard. And we make fun of whatever people believe in or not, but these guys really, we can't figure out. I mean, there were 25 kicks to the face that you could hear them, right? I thought it might have happened to you. It was so close. You could hear it so much.
I don't know how they do it.
I don't know how they do it either. And then they do it for 30 and 40 minutes. And, they're hitting their head and they're taking bumps and they're landing on their back. And then tomorrow tonight actually they'll do a 20-minute promo and wrestle. They'll go right back at it less than a day later. So.
Yeah, we had good seats because of our friend KP.
Yeah.
And, it's, these guys hit each other and they kick each other, and I don't know. Mm-hmm. Their body definitely gets banged up, and there's also no off season in wrestling, which I think is nuts.
Right.
It's not like they're like, hey guys, we're gonna take off July and August.
Yeah. Every Monday they're back at it in a feature match. So.
Right.
By the way, we did have good seats, but not as good as the guy 2 rows in front of us wearing a gallery jersey for the Raiders. And his friend. We should talk about this for a second, I think.
Yeah, we should. Those guys, well, if you follow Sal, he's at the Cousin Sal on Twitter. He posted a picture. It was a guy wearing a Robert Gallery jersey, a Robert Gallery Raiders jersey, which I think if you and I were in a room for 100 hours trying to think of the worst jersey anyone could wear in public, that might be in the top 5.
Right. It's pretty bad.
He was standing next to somebody that was just the only person in our section standing for long chunks of time. And we were yelling at him to sit down, but then we realized there actually might be something wrong with him. Yeah, so we laid off him.
Everyone's yelling for him to sit down, and he doesn't move. I'm like, wow, this guy is either the biggest a-hole in the world, or he just something's
There's something wrong. Yeah. And then we realized that, yes, there was something wrong with the way he reacted during the CM Punk match.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he was in his 30s and was reacting the same way I did during the 2004 ALCS.
Right, and his friend Gallery, who's, by the way, twice the size of the real Gallery.
Yeah.
The M&M Peanut Gallery, I would call him. But he was, I think, in his 40s, and just as bad. And I remember you saying, like, what did you say? Who's more of a loser?
I said, who's the alpha dog? Like, who do you think drove? Like, these guys, right. We were actually having long conversations about these guys. Like, who do you think got the tickets? Oh, definitely Gallery. Gallery's the mastermind. The other guy, like, if they ever went on a killing spree, the Gallery would be the guy who did the murders, but the other guy would bury the bodies. Yeah, these are the conversations you have at wrestling events.
And we were thinking about his other choices, like what else he would have worn. Like, probably the Gallery jersey was probably the best choice. If you look through his closet, he probably had like a Paris Hilton got milk T-shirt or something, or he could have probably gone topless. That would have been the other option. So we lucked out with the Gallery jersey.
So big picture wrestling. I think wrestling. I tweeted about this a couple weeks ago. Wrestling, the fourth pay. They have 4 majors, quote unquote majors: WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, and then the fourth alleged major is Survivor Series.
Oh, maybe it's more then, because you don't count Money in the Bank. That's a big one.
This is my point.
Yeah.
I think Money in the Bank is the fourth major now.
Yeah.
Almost like they need to unmajor Survivor Series.
Yeah, they should. But yeah, Money in the Bank is in a ladder. You have to climb a ladder to get so there's probably 2 or 3 real injuries that occur in Money in the Bank. You got about 10 wrestlers climbing a ladder, and there's some legitimate falls there, So you're on the edge of your seat. Plus, whoever wins gets a shot at the title at some point.
But the problem is when they have Money in the Bank is usually like what is it, like end of June or July or something? When was it?
Oh, I guess maybe it was. Yeah, I guess it was June. Yeah.
What they should do is they should make Money in the Bank the November pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And they should just move Survivor Series they should just bury it in the summer. They should say our new fourth major, because you want to spread out the majors. Between
WrestleMania and SummerSlam, you want to spread it out. So you'd say right in between there. Yeah. The other thing you're forgetting, they still have Night of Champions, right?
Right.
Like, that's a good one because, as great as last night was, you didn't see, like, Kurt Hennig's son wrestle, and he's, like, the Intercontinental Champion, You didn't see the tag team titles up for grabs, but
so you think maybe 5 majors?
I like title changes. Yeah, I like when they're all up.
Because Survivor Series, I don't think I've gotten that one on pay-per-view in a while.
No.
Although now, hopefully, with my son, maybe I could just get everyone now.
Yeah,
guilt free. But Australian Open, the people in Australia got mad that I didn't think that should be the fourth major.
Oh, really?
But here's my thing, and it's the same thing for the PGA Championship. Like,
we may have to go to Australia to do a Super Bowl podcast or something to make it up to.
But if you can't remember who won any of the last 10 majors in a major, then it probably shouldn't be a major.
That's true.
I like golf. I watch every golf major, and I always half-heartedly watch the PGA, and I couldn't tell you who won last year.
Yeah. No, you're right. I'm with you on that.
So maybe Damashek on Twitter, he said maybe they go match play for the fourth major. And I guess when they've done these match play tournaments, sometimes they're just not that good. And sometimes they're decided like on the second to last day or something.
Well, what's the one? Yeah, I mean, the golfers seem more excited about that than anything, right? When they're teaming up and stuff and going, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I was thinking it's really fun when golfers team up, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that should be the fourth major. Maybe it's it's just skins and it's teams and it's 5 days. And you can team up with anybody. So you can conceivably do the Savage Hogan Mega Powers if you wanted. Like Tiger Woods could be like, Rory, I know we don't get along that well, but let's team up and try to win this. And maybe that would be the fourth major.
The only thing is it wouldn't lend towards figuring out the annual ranking and stuff like that. I know that's big with these majors that counts. But I'm really glad we're talking about golf when we set out for wrestling and Breaking Bad.
Well, no, we're going to do Breaking Bad in 1 second. But the other thing I told you the story about when at Jimmy's wedding, my wife and I played doubles against Daniel and our friend Jamie.
Oh, I love
and
it.
Daniel just kept hitting it in between me and my wife. My wife's a good tennis player.
Yeah.
Kept hitting it between us, hoping we would get in an argument. And after about a half hour, he finally succeeded because my wife, as she always does, dove right in front of me on her backhand when I was about to hit a forehand, which just is the quickest way to make me mad.
Right.
Really, it's the number one. If you're making a top 10 list, that's number one.
That's
So
good to
I got
know,
mad. Then we started yelling at each other, and we fell apart completely. We lost the match, which is funny because Bill Barnwell wrote a piece today about momentum on Grantland and how he doesn't believe momentum exists.
Right.
Well, watch a married couple play doubles tennis and tell me momentum doesn't exist.
Well, and then plus you probably had Daniel taunting you the whole time. So that's
and he's cackling. He just loved it. He thought it was the greatest thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that should be incorporated in the Australian Open. Married people, mixed married doubles. You have to be married.
I like that. I do like that. Then I think from year to year, you should, because of it, you would have different married couples. Are we talking golf or tennis there? We're talking tennis, right?
Tennis. Golf would be. I didn't even think about golf.
But Agassi and his lady would break up probably because of arguing over. They'd win like 6 years in a row, and then if they lost, forget it. You'd read about how there was a scandal.
That's true. They split up after their terrible screaming match in the Australian Open semifinals.
Yeah, it'd be hard to follow after a while.
Yeah, well, I think there's something here. All right, let's talk Breaking Bad.
Isn't it nice though with Breaking Bad that I remember years ago when The Sopranos ended, it's like Sunday nights will never be the same. We're done. We're going to look back on this time. We're going to say, I wish, and then it is back. It's back. It's been back for a while. I love it. I love coming back from SummerSlam and having an hour's worth of the greatest TV show ever on the DVR.
And it was all right. So from now on until you hear JackO's voice, we're going to be talking about Breaking Bad. So if you haven't seen if you haven't seen last night's Breaking Bad, fast forward until at the 50-minute mark. So the scene between the two sisters, Skylar and Hank's wife, with the baby,
Marie, yep.
in its own weird way, probably the most intense scene in the history of the show.
Yeah, that is interesting. There's obviously more issues going on than just your husband's a scumbag thing. She wants that kid. I think that's part of. I think it's everyone wants to win now, right? That's the thing. Like Walter White wins if Skylar gets that money, and to be fair and to the credit of the writers, that's been his thing all the way through. Like, I want to support the family. I want to have money to leave for the family. And then he set that straight with Skylar yesterday, buries the money. That's how he would win. Hank gets Walt to go to jail. That's how he's going to win. And I think now Marie gets those kids, and that's how she's going to win. I don't know.
Yeah, the kid, Greenwald pointed this out in his breakdown today, which was excellent, on Grantland. But the kid we haven't really heard. Right. It's been one of those mute kids that it's almost like they could have used a doll as an actor.
Yeah.
This is the first time we really heard the kid, and the kid's like screaming, and it's just, especially if you're a parent, like you hear a kid that's upset, like that's just going to resonate with you, because anybody who's been a parent has heard a baby make that sound. You're like, oh my God, what's happening? And that was like the level they got that baby to. Now, I think that baby, possible Emmy consideration.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
How do you get a baby that upset unless they were like sticking her with a cattle prod or something?
No, you watch it again. You didn't see how they did it?
How'd they do it?
Marie had the baby's head, but they're shooting it so you see the back of the baby's head. So they could just add audio. They could just add.
Okay, but how'd they add the audio though? How do you make a kid that upset? The sound that kid got to was a sound that kids get when they are freaking out.
No, I don't know if that was that kid. I'm saying.
Oh, you think it was like an actor?
Yeah, no, it could just be. They just have audio files of kids crying and everything, but they did a nice job. Give that guy an Emmy, but I don't think you see this kid's face until the very end when the handoff is made between Marie and Skylar, and then she does have a crying look on her face, but.
It was great, and what's weird is I was totally torn watching it. Like, part of me was like, no, you can't take her kid. And then I'm thinking like, oh yeah, you totally should take her kid. And I didn't know how to feel about it.
I went back and forth between feeling bad for between feeling bad for Hank and being like, yeah, or saying, yeah, of course Skylar should get a lawyer. This is ridiculous. Like, I know they're just, and your buddy Gus points out that maybe too late in the run to make Skylar a sympathetic character, but they're taking a shot at it. They really are.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. Like Hank, his cluelessness that doesn't make any sense, but at the same time makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
And it's weird that during that diner scene, at no point did it dawn on him that Skylar was involved, because he'd already just been totally flabbergasted by what Hank was, or what Walter was capable of. So, but he
did acknowledge that she knew about it, which was weird. It's like, I know you know about it. You jumped in the pool. You know, I'm okay with it. Just tell me what you know. Like, yeah, he was sort of giving her a pass, but yeah, he didn't think she'd turned fully on Walt's side there.
Do you think Skylar should have come back with Marie when Marie was getting all pious and been like, "Hey, you shoplifted"?
Absolutely.
That was her one comeback, and she didn't use it.
That's what I was thinking. You rat on my husband, I'll tell everyone you stole a purple snow globe from that boutique in season 4. Yeah.
My husband might be a murdering drug dealer who's executed the most amazing crystal meth thing in the past 20 years, but you shoplifted.
Yep. And now you're about to steal my child. I mean, there is some symbolism in that. Like,
you're a shoplifting child stealer.
She's a thief, so she's going to take everything.
Well, Jesse, I'm not 100% positive I like the Jesse Robin Hood plot.
No, I'm a little annoyed with it. He's got to wake up. He's in this catatonic state, and he's screwing everything up. I don't even know what I want to happen at the end, but I know he's screwing everything up.
I'm sure there's some English literature majory explanation for Jesse's behavior, but I don't totally understand why he's so catatonic, unless he's just having a total nervous breakdown, which if that's the case, then fine.
Well, did he figure out in the first episode that Walt's been lying to him the whole time?
Well, but even before Walt went over there, he was...
But just the way he looked him in the eye, it just seemed like, all right, that's it. You're lying to me about everything, and you may have poisoned my girlfriend's son, and so that this money means nothing. If you're not going to let me give it to the kid we killed by, who happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, I'm doing it my way.
I think I would have gone the other way with Jesse. I think I would have had him kind of quietly rebuilding his life. Like, he's a Starbucks barista.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's kind of sort of dating one of the other baristas, but not really.
Interesting.
And he's clean, and he's just trying to move on. And then Walter comes by and drops all that money.
Nice. Yeah, that could have been good. Or maybe a Prince Harry or William. Who's the one who goes naked in Vegas and just...
he does that. Oh, he goes on the spending spree.
Yeah, I would have been all right with that.
Yeah, there's never been a bad spending spree on a television show.
No, you're right.
That 90210 was always like the move for them whenever they ran out of story ideas. Somebody would end up having some money and being able to start splurging. Yeah. It was always the move. Yeah, I would maybe go. I don't know why they had Jesse go this dark. Although I guess he's trying to point out that these are this is how it goes with the business they've chosen. These are the repercussions.
The only problem I had with last night is I don't know how much energy would a guy with stage 4 cancer have enough energy to dig a ditch in the desert? Who knows how hot to fit a dozen barrels of cash, and then. I'm not buying it. I guess he had to do it somehow, but
Whitlock was complaining about this on Twitter today.
Was he?
Yeah. He thought that hole was way too big and way too unrealistic. I guess you and I would have no concept on how long that would take, right?
No. One person, though? Yeah.
One person, you could tell me that could take 4 days. You could tell me it could take 10 hours. I just don't know.
Yeah. At least he collapsed when he got home, so that was okay. But what you don't like my idea? I posed it to you the other day. All the writers on Jimmy Kimmel Live. So far, I'm the only one on board, but I think I can convince others. We all do meth before the season finale. You're welcome to join us. I want to know. I want someone to write and let me know if 14 people do meth, how many statistically will become addicted? Because if it's 1, what a great thing that would be, huh?
So you say it's 7% chance somebody becomes addicted, that then at 93% chance you just get out of that night of life.
Would you do it? You have a terrific story. Probably not affected the rest of your life. Odds are way, way in your favor, but one of your friends is.
Yeah, I'm a weird person to ask because the only drug I've ever tried is pot. And
you got to do meth. Gotta do it.
But like you watch movies and stuff, and sometimes like you watch the cocaine montages in a TV show, and you're like, that could be fun for like a week.
Yeah.
I've never understood the crystal meth thing.
I know.
It's like literally nothing appealing about it. Like even you see like heroin on TV, and you're like, I bet that first time's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But when you do. The crystal meth just seems like a horror show from beginning to end.
It is terrible.
I don't get it.
Your teeth rot out of your mouth, and you live in your car for 40 days. I don't know.
You turn into a zombie with no teeth. Hey, sign me up.
Yeah.
Woohoo! I don't get it. I'm going to pass on the crystal meth thing.
All right, fine.
You had another. What was your theory that you told me about?
Just with Walter White, with these...
Do your Walter White theory that you heard,
first of all, I don't like these flash-forward series. They didn't show one last night, which is good. But I think we'll lose an episode if they show too many of these flash-forward things, But then they have to revisit it, maybe not show it in entirety. But when Walt goes back to his house to take the ricin out of the wall, he sees his neighbor who is stunned, and she drops the groceries. And it was a stunned drop, not like a drop like, oh, my God, here's this villain who they're looking to capture. How did he get free? But almost like this guy's supposed to be dead. So I think, and I didn't come up with the theory, but it could be that Walt faked his own death.
You think faked his own death, but then something lures him back to the town.
Right, yeah.
But clearly, like, the family isn't there anymore.
Yeah, and it all happens within a year because that Denny scene with his birthday is his 52nd birthday. The last season ends with his 51st birthday. So, yeah, I don't know, for them to be not evicted, but the place to be taped up and everything, a lot had to happen. So I don't know how long he's gone for. But,
so Vulture had a great interview with the guy who plays Hank. It was really good. It was really long and extensive. They ran it right after the first episode ended. Yeah. Check it out online if you haven't read it. And Hank said, he said the most common thing people say to him is, how does Hank not know about Walter? Like, how does he not know? And he's like, the thing that people forget is it was really only a year from start to finish when Walter's demise. It wasn't like this happened over the span of 7 years or however long the show's been on, 5 years.
Right.
And he was like, that's why, like, Hank, everything was happening so fast. He gets shot in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's pretty reasonable.
No, it is. But at the same token, he can't really go back to work and say my brother-in-law's been doing it the whole time.
And here's my counter to the actor who plays Hank's rationalization.
Yeah.
Let's say one of our friends all of a sudden just has millions and millions of dollars, and he's like, I won at gambling. Wouldn't you have like a million follow-up questions?
Definitely. Yeah.
What happened? Was it blackjack? What kind of run were you on?
Which casino?
Did the Pipos? Did they think you were counting cards? Like, I feel like I would be asking questions for a week.
Can I use one of your free rooms for the weekend because you're obviously comped up?
I know you're out, but can we go back and maybe the Pipos? Blah blah blah. Like the way he tacitly accepted that ridiculous gambling. Plus, like, what is the New Mexico casino scene like?
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
It's not like he's like, I was at the Mandalay Bay in Albuquerque.
Well, that's what's most infuriating. It's like Walter has a gambling problem. He just can't stop winning. So you have to be on my side here and convincing him to stop. What?
Right.
Why?
What does that even mean?
Who cares? You go to Europe. You have car washes that you didn't have once before.
And wouldn't Party be like, well, if he's this good at gambling, why don't we go to Monte Carlo for a weekend?
I think Hank would, yeah. I think
especially what we know about Hank. I mean, Hank, the same guy who will absolutely go into the master bedroom of somebody else's house, drop a deuce, and grab a book.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to say he would hit up Walter for some Monte Carlo gambling advice.
We had to count cards crying out loud.
Hey, speaking of gambling, your dramatic return to the BS report. We're doing NFL over-unders next week, but I think it might not run until Labor Day week.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, I don't know when it's going to run. Depends when it's done, but how much homework have you done so far?
I'm very excited. I'm through 5 divisions. There are 8 divisions this year, I found out. No, yeah, I'm very, very, very excited. And we're going to make some money this year. We're going to figure out a way to make money. I think there are some of these over-under totals that are off by 2 or 3 games. I've been wrong before, but there's a lot to discuss. I'm very excited about it.
The one thing that worries me is I feel like the science of sleepers And not only just sleepers, but teams that fall off the next year after having a lot of success. Seems like everybody has figured out those two things. Like the Colts regression is just staring at you, you know? And it's like in sports, whenever anything's too obvious, it's never how it plays out. So it's like you look at the Chiefs and like they have Alex Smith, who's much better than the quarterback they had last year, even though he's not an all-pro. They have Andy Reid, who's much better than Romeo Crennel, even though he's not a top 5 coach. Like you have a lot of talent on the Chiefs. You just look at that team, not a great division. You think like easier schedule. They fit every check mark. It's impossible not to look at the Chiefs and think like, oh yeah, they're going to go 10-6.
Right. And Denver's getting worse and worse every day with suspensions and injuries and everything else. Yeah, I know. I know, and I'm the same way. And I'm looking at it as like, there are like 4 playoff teams from last year whose over-under is 8.5. Like 8.5. Like, why won't the Ravens win 9? Why won't the Colts win 9? You know, but then I don't know. And you think about it, like Ravens are the team everyone wants to beat now, and the Colts awful schedule last year, like very cake schedule last year. Not the case this year. You know, so you don't want to get trapped.
The Patriots thing is fascinating because the whole team the whole offense revolved around those 2 tight ends. The 2 tight ends are gone. I don't know when Gronkowski comes back. Hernandez never coming back. But now they're all excited about these rookie receivers and these random tight ends they have. And I've gone from thinking 6-10 to totally talking myself into the random. How the hell did they go 12-4 against season?
Wow, look at you.
Well, no, listen. I'm a total homer. I'm not saying it's logical.
Well, here's what threw me off, though. I'm in 2 drafts. I'm in our auction draft on the West Coast, and on my East Coast draft is next week. It's still a snake draft. Tom Brady is going like 50th. That's insane. He's going like in the late 4th, early 5th round if you have 10 teams. Yeah, and he keeps coming to me because I'm in the 9th slot on that 4th, 5th round. I'm like, I'm not even going to plug him in here in a mock draft because he can't be around, but every mock draft I do, he's there. Stunning.
Well, we've seen that happen in fantasy, though, when people just get bored of somebody.
Yeah.
He's been around forever. It's not fun to take him anymore. You know what you're getting, and you start overrating the alleged deficiencies they have. And
Maurice Jones-Drew was like 18th now. Some of these. Yeah.
I remember Marvin Harrison was the ultimate guy like that. There was like 3 extra years where you could get Marvin Harrison for much cheaper, in 3 rounds later than you should get him. Yeah. And it just happened for a 3-year stretch. Everybody's just tired of him. Everybody had him. It was much more exciting to take like, you know, whoever the Jordy Nelson of this year is. Who is the Jordy Nelson of this year?
Tavon Austin? I don't know. Well, that's a rookie pick. So
I'm excited for Amendola to get. Amendola doubled his salary in any fantasy draft on Friday night.
Yeah.
They threw to him on just about every play, and he looked like Welker 2.0.
Right.
And people are just going to overlook the fact that he can't stay on the field, or has had trouble staying on the field.
Well, Pat's guys are normally, maybe it's just our draft because somehow we live in California and like 8 of the 12 owners are from Boston, but Pat's guys are generally taken earlier than they need to be. But, you know, it's going to have 35 touchdowns, right? Brady? They have to go play.
Yeah, at some point you just got to bet on the track record.
Yeah.
The track record is what it is. It should be good.
Talk about this for hours.
Yeah, we'll talk about this for hours. So any last Breaking Bad thing, any predictions for episode 3?
Well, I'm going to be doing meth before that episode, so I really don't know. This Lydia thing is getting credited. That robot woman that plays the Lydia character.
Yeah.
And she's just in the bunker and covering her ears while the guy from Friday Night Lights pulls her out. But I want to know if they make meth again. It doesn't make sense that they'll make meth again, but it seems like they have to. Like, real quick, what do you think? Do you think they'll get it together to make? What would have to happen for them to make meth again?
I've thought about this. I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
I think they need Walter again. And when you're dealing with a bad person, the only way to truly get to them is to go after the one thing they care about.
Right.
And for him, it's his older son. I don't even think he cares about the baby. He spent like 2 minutes with that baby.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely doesn't care about his wife. But the son he has like a real soft spot for, even though he's like a fully evil human being. But I think he does have a soft spot for the son.
Right.
I think you kidnap the son and you make Walter make a month of crystal meth before he gets the son back. That'd be my move.
Interesting. Okay, I'll say it's either that or the money we saw buried last night. Huell, whatever, Odenkirk's partner there, digs it up, or somehow that's missing, and now he has to make more money because that's been his goal all along, to provide for the family.
Well, as much as I enjoyed the lottery ticket move, once the lottery happens, why would you still have the ticket on your fridge?
Yeah,
Somebody could figure that out.
It's true. Yeah, he'd have to buy it every day, the same numbers, or every 3 days, whatever it is. Yeah, they threw a little lost in there, didn't they, with the lottery, with the numbers and everything. But he could have just dropped a pin, right? Don't the iPhones provide for that?
Could have done that.
Yeah.
There's a couple other things he could have done other than the lottery ticket. You're on break for the next 2 weeks with Jimmy Kimmel Live, coming back strong in September.
Yeah, and I'll be doing something with Jeffrey Ross. We tape it tomorrow. We go over his book. He's going to be promoting his roast of James Franco, and we're going to go over his book that he wrote a couple of years ago, How to Be a Roast Master. It's not as easy as a lot of people think.
Yeah, we're going to have you do a couple more Grantland Channel things. The first one is, Jeff Ross wrote this autobiography.
Mm-hmm.
Loose air quotes on the word autobiography, because autobiographies usually are factual.
Yeah.
And Jeff Ross likes to take liberties with things that actually happened. And you're going to interview him and call him out on this. This is really like if Jeremy Schaap was able to interview A-Rod right now, no holds barred. This is the comedian version of that. Right.
Well, we don't want to scare him off, though, because he is coming in tomorrow. But we're going to discuss a lot of things, and it'll be worth listening to and watching.
You have some issues with some factual timelines and facts in the biography.
Right. Something to do with Tom Cruise. We'll see.
All right, we look forward to that. We're doing over-unders next week. And then you return every Monday during the season.
Yes.
The Cousin Sal. A pleasure, as always. All
right, good job by you, Billy.
Good job by you, Sal. All right, we're going to call JackO to discuss last night's crazy Yankees-Red Sox game. But before we do that, a word from our good friends at Subway.
Hurry to Subway for the new $4 lunch. Choose from plenty of fully loaded 6-inch subs like the BLT and Spicy Italian with all the fresh veggies you love, plus a 21-ounce fountain drink, all for just $4 all day, every day. Subway. Eat fresh.
Complex Litigation, this is John.
You don't want this, Johnny. Fill us in. I was at SummerSlam last night, and did not see the game. My BlackBerry started blowing up at about 6 o'clock or something. So A-Rod comes up. People booed him all weekend. Dempster just throws at him and just keeps throwing at him until he hits him.
Right, which took 4 tries, but he eventually succeeded. I actually wasn't watching the game. I had no confidence whatsoever in Sabathia. And I think I was putting my kids to bed or something, and then I remembered, the game is on, and I looked at my phone, and on Twitter, it was blowing up about A-Rod getting plunked. So then I was interested, and I turned it on, and then I stuck with it till the end, stayed up till way past my bedtime on a school night till 12:15 because these games are interminable. And that really, like the whole thing with Dempster hitting him, which, was so stupid, but the umps are just so bad. I mean, to warn both benches right off the bat, so he knew it was intentional. But so it takes away the retaliation from the Yankees immediately, and then he leaves Dempster in the game, which, as it turned out, was helpful to the Yankees because he stinks. But I mean, I've never seen Girardi lose his mind like that. After I saw the replays, he's always like Mr. Calm, cool, and collected. So for him to lose his mind like that, it was like especially egregious. So. Well, and that just got my blood up, and so watching the game, I was on kind of a Twitter frenzy because the combination of hypocritical Red Sox fans in their Ortiz jerseys and Manny jerseys booing the life out of A-Rod, the bloodlust there for A-Rod, and then having to listen to Curt Schilling drone on for 5 hours about steroids and everything else and pontificate, it just got my blood up in a way that it hasn't been up at any point in this season, certainly.
You're not a Curt Schilling fan?
No, not especially. And John Kruk, for that matter, too, because Schilling was on the 04 and 07 Red Sox teams. Let's just say people have a lot of questions there. Yeah. And Kruk and Schilling, which I forgot till people pointed out on Twitter, Schilling, too, were both on the 93 Phillies. Lenny Dykstra.
One of the first.
Exactly.
One of the first alleged teams.
Exactly, with a well-muscled Lenny Dykstra and Darren Dalton leading the squad there. So for those two to pontificate about the Yankees and about steroids in general and PED use was just more than I could take. So
you brought up the key point that it actually would have been better for the Red Sox if Dempster got kicked out.
Yeah.
Had I been watching the game, I would have been disappointed that they kept him in.
And really, if I was a Red Sox fan, I would be mad at Dempster for a couple reasons. As joyful as I'm sure your initial reaction is to see, oh, I hate A-Rod and he got plunked. That's great, but the Yankees yesterday have devolved into like the Bronx Zoo of the 1970s with Randy Levine and Cashman sniping at A-Rod and A-Rod's camp with Joe Tacopina and whoever else is his team now, sniping at the Yankees, and lawsuits are threatened and grievances, and it's all an ugly, hideous mess. And so then what does Dempster do? Plunks A-Rod, makes him mildly sympathetic, forces the Yankees to all rally around the flag. And I'm not saying it's like high school football where that spurred them on to victory, but, did that pump them up a little bit maybe? And A-Rod, who they probably want to shun, they now rally to? I mean, that was just dumb all around.
Are we sure they rallied to him, though? I mean, no Yankee threw at any Boston player.
No, Bill, because, this has been my lament for as long as I've been doing these podcasts, going back to the Joe Torre years, for some reason the Yankees never, ever, ever, ever retaliate against the Red Sox. And if you look up the stats of Yankees that have been hit by Red Sox over the past 10 years, it's like astronomical compared to the number of Red Sox that were hit. So we've talked about this on the podcast many times because the Red Sox just always throw a Jeter. Always try to break his wrist at every series. Exactly. And they have there's a long line of guys they've thrown at, and the Yankees never ever try to back Ortiz off the plate. He's always leaning in over the plate. They never ever back him off. So they never throw at anybody. So I mean, I made a joke on Twitter last night when the Red Sox took the lead that Sabathia was now free to throw at somebody, but the bad news was it probably wasn't going to hurt the way he was throwing. And actually, he's so wild, he might not be able to hit somebody. It might take him more than the four chances it took Dempster. So I don't know. I don't understand it. If I was the manager, I would have a designated fall guy to just go in and throw right at, Ortiz or Pedroia or Ellsbury and then take the fall and get ejected. But maybe they're saving it up.
There was some point, like when Sabathia was nearing the end there, where he probably could have thrown at somebody. I heard Schilling on the radio today talking to Colin Cowherd, and he was talking about how surprised he was that he just thought it was just so crazy that the Yankees didn't defend A-Rod, because it's not like the Red Sox threw it him once; they threw it him multiple times, and
intentionally, right?
And he's just like, at that point, if your teammates aren't going to stick up for you, then it's a 25-man clubhouse, but it's really 24 guys and then one guy.
Yeah,
and I think I agree. It's a little hyperbolic, but it is a little crazy they didn't defend him, and the whole thing's been bizarre to watch. I watched the Friday and Saturday games.
Yeah.
And it's just weird. It's a weird situation. We talked about it a little bit last week on the BS Report, that just the whole thing's strange. Like, his ability to compartmentalize. Why can't I ever say that word?
I think you threw an extra syllable in there, but that's all right, yeah.
Compartmentalize? Compartmentalize.
Yeah.
Compartmentalize. I wish our old roommate, the Blue Boy, was here to make fun of me right now.
Yeah, really.
But his ability to just kind of put some things over here and some things over here and just kind of do his business, it's nuts.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it.
They always claim that, Bill Clinton, when he was president, could do that he could put all, the Monica scandal stuff aside and just be president, or maybe you see it with politicians with Anthony Weiner, that he can forget about his hideous sexting scandals and continue to plow forward to be the mayor of.
A lot of people have done it that way, but not when you have 35,000 people just venomously booing you, and then you're able to just stroke a single to left field, like those people aren't even involved. I think that's nuts.
If you're an amazing elite athlete, as most of these guys are, certainly A-Rod is, PEDs are not aside, but you just have amazing focus, I suppose. And, he played high school baseball and football, and there was probably opposing people screaming for his head. And I guess you just get used to it after 25 years or whatever.
Yeah. Plus, if you're a sociopath, I think that would help too.
It probably does.
He's not a sociopath. I'm just kidding.
No, he's not.
Here's my question, Johnny. How many games? You're 7 games back?
Of the Red Sox, yes. 7.5, I think. But I forget how many in the loss. 6 or 7 in the loss.
So I guess right now you guys, we're taping this on a Monday morning West Coast time. Yeah, you guys are 7.5 back. You're 64-59.
Yeah.
The A-Rod thing is a total soap opera. I've never seen, really since the late 70s and Steinbrenner and Reggie Jackson. I can't remember on a baseball team just day to day, the front office sniping with one of the players like this.
Right.
At what point did they just get spiteful and say, you know what, you're not playing anymore?
Well, the thing
Screw
is,
you.
they can't because they don't have anybody else to play third base. I mean, the choices are him or David Adams, so.
What about the great Vernon Wells?
He can't play third.
He played an inning there this year because he's eligible in the League of Dorks at third base. So he had one inning.
Yeah, but I don't think he's really a long-term solution there.
Come on.
They're so desperate they had to plug him in there, but I don't think he's going to make anybody forget Brooks Robinson over there.
How about Chavi? What's Chavi doing?
Eric Chavez?
Yeah, Chavi.
Where is he? Else. I think he plays for the Diamondbacks.
Oh, I thought he was like in a semi-pro baseball league somewhere.
No. I think they tried to re-sign him in the off-season, and he spurned them to sign with, I think, the Diamondbacks.
Would you rather have A-Rod? Would you rather have A-Rod or Craig Nettles right now? Craig Nettles.
Craig Nettles was my favorite player as a kid, so I'm always going to pick him. But I mean, A-Rod has played halfway decent for them. His production in this past week and a half has been more than they've gotten out of third base all year. So sniping aside from the front office, the team would like to have him in there. He's protection for the best hitter in baseball, Alfonso Soriano.
Well, Alfonso Soriano, very sore subject for anybody in an American League only fantasy league. Because he came over and usually like right around the time when people are saving their free agent money to go after one guy, and Soriano now swinging leagues.
Yeah,
I mean, he might not swing the real life American League,
right.
But he's swinging fantasy leagues across the country.
14 RBIs in 2 days, that'll help you, yeah.
In the League of Dorks, my friend Mike, who somehow manages to pull 17 lucky horseshoe breaks out of his ass every year, like literally just yanks the horseshoe out of his ass over and over again. Of course, he's the guy who ends up with Soriano, who is now the hottest he's been since he was on Texas.
Exactly.
Wait, what was I going to? What were we
about A-Rod playing?
Oh yeah, about he's hitting 12 games, 319, 407 on base, 489 slugging.
He's been their
Pretty
best
solid.
third baseman this year. They had I forget what the stat is. It's ridiculous. Up to this point, they had like 6 home runs from third base all year. Among 15 guys, they had like the lowest OPS in the history of the earth or something for a position. Like this year, their third base situation has been terrible. They'll play him regardless of the controversy. That's the thing. I mean, if the Yankees are really so outraged, then of course they wouldn't just ever waive him because they are hoping to get out from under his contract when he gets suspended. So I'm sure they're trying some legal maneuvering with that, but they would never just outright release him. But he's their best option at third base. That's why he's playing.
What's the most fun thing that could happen right now? A-Rod catching fire and the Yankees crawling back into the race?
Oh, yeah, I would be fired up about that. Although, I mean, I would never hear the end of it for the rest of my life if he ever led them to the World Series or something. But I don't care. I'll take a World Series. And I'm never going to hear the end of it for the rest of my life about A-Rod this and A-Rod that anyway. So, I mean, anytime I make the slightest Red Sox joke on Twitter, it's about 14 seconds until the first A-Rod comment comes through, even though it's not relevant to anything that I've said. So, every Yankee fan is going to have to wear A-Rod as a badge of shame, the scarlet letter for the rest of their lives. That's the way it goes. So it would be fantastic if this was like a 1978 deal, though. I mean, a Red Sox collapse would make me so happy. And I actually read on the Boston Globe today, because I do enjoy Schadenfreude going there after a big Red Sox loss, that some Red Sox commenter, probably already out on the ledge, commented that this could be like the 2004, the Veritek shoving A-Rod in the face that spurred the gang of idiots onto the World Series.
Well, I would advise that person to settle down.
I just wonder if the Yankees would give Dempster a ring, or if he would get to be on the float through the Canyon of Heroes, how that would work.
If you had told everybody in America on Sunday morning a pitcher in tonight's Yankees game is going to repeatedly throw at A-Rod, wouldn't everyone have signed up for that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, if he was just so blatant about it, though. I mean, throwing the first one behind him and then 2 more inside, and he finally plunked him. I mean, the reaction I've seen, even among Red Sox fans that are friends of mine on Facebook and things, they're like, I'm a Red Sox fan, but I thought that was shameful.
I loved
Yankee
it.
fans really. I'm surprised by the reaction from Yankee fans who were they really thought that was like outrageous.
I loved it.
And the question I have is, if you're A-Rod and you have nothing to lose, why don't you go after him? Go after Dempster with a bat, like just charge the mound, swinging wildly. What's baseball going to do to you?
Oh, like pull a Juan Marichal?
Yeah, that's what I said last night on Twitter, although I mistakenly called him Orlando Cepeda until somebody corrected me. But I've reminded everybody that I'm old. Yeah, do a Juan Marichal. What's baseball going to do? If you already have the death penalty, like what more can the warden do to you,
Maybe like go right after his kneecaps?
Yeah, just go out there swinging.
We'll never really know all the reasons with A-Rod for why everything happened. But can we assume he's not using PEDs right now? Like it would be a safe bet, right? Like or is it the other way where because he already got nailed, it's like a free-for-all with A-Rod?
His body's just like a lab.
Well, can they even test him anymore when he's already been suspended? Like, how does that work? What are you going to read? It's like giving somebody the death penalty twice.
That's a good question. I mean, if they don't test him, he's probably free to do whatever he wants, Why not? Why wouldn't you? What's he got to lose at this point? You might as well roll the dice. Something might come up, 7-11 or whatever.
But the part, come up 7-11.
I don't know. I had no gambling reference there when I went with roll the dice.
I need a gambling reference school. The part I don't get is like if you look at the entirety of A-Rod's career, it's really tough to figure out like what the PED seasons were. Like was he just using PEDs the entire time? Has anybody ever gotten less of a bump from PEDs than A-Rod?
Exactly. I mean, it's not like he was waived by his original franchise and out on the scrap heap, and then he becomes one of the best hitters in baseball. Part of the modern version of Ruth Gehrig. I mean, that would raise question marks in your eyes, things that would glaringly stand out at you, a career, not a resurgence, but a career made. I mean, that would really make you wonder.
Because he's 38 years old and he hit a homer into the center field bleachers at Fenway last night. He's only played for 2 weeks. Like that wasn't an easy homer, No,
it was a shot.
So is he not cheating anymore? Is he cheating more or... I just don't get it.
I don't know. I have no idea.
The most homers he ever hit was 57 in 2002. He's
hit in the 40s a few times, though, right?
He's had from 98 through 03 was 40 plus every time.
Yeah, so he's been consistent.
48 in 05, 54 in 07. Jesus. 54 with 156 ribbies.
Yeah.
And a 1.067 OPS.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the Needles were in full force that year.
Who knows? Maybe he's just good. I mean, he's not like a Barry Bonds where he's this massive hulking guy.
Why do you think we care about performance-enhancing drugs in sports, but yet in music, like in the Eagles documentary that I wrote about last week?
Yeah.
They did cocaine basically for the last 3 albums, just constantly.
Right, and talking about how it was a writing tool.
Yeah, and did some of their best work. Why don't we hold that against the Eagles?
Or how about like actors and actresses that get plastic surgery? Like, do we feel cheated because they really don't look that good?
It's a little strange.
I don't really get it. I mean, every other career that you have, anything where your body's involved, I suppose, or maybe anything really, you're going to try the latest cutting edge technology to be the best you can, or look, cut some corners, whatever it takes to be the best. Don't we celebrate that? Except when it comes to this.
And especially with baseball, because middle-aged white people get really mad when their records get threatened.
Exactly. That's what it is, because your boyhood, you knew, Mantle's career home runs by heart.
A-Rod's 10 homers away from Willie Mays.
Exactly.
I don't want him to pass Willie.
If he beats Willie, he's 11 away. He gets $6 million bonus. America will be happy about that.
I have a feeling we will not see an at bat when he's 1 away from Willie.
No, I doubt it. Willie
if they have to pay him more money,
in front of that,
yeah, put more money will not happen. So we're gonna go because you have to go to lunch. Give us one prediction going forward. You have 6 weeks left in the season.
Just one generic prediction for anything?
Yeah. If you had to bet on anything, what would you bet on right now?
The Red Sox are not going to win the AL East.
Wow. Tampa?
Yeah. I'm not saying the Red Sox won't make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to win the AL East. I think they're going in the wrong direction.
What is the reception for A-Rod on tomorrow night, Tuesday?
In Yankee Stadium. They play at Yankee Stadium, I believe, right?
Yep.
I think it'll be like it's been. It'll be mixed. There may be a few more cheers because there's fans like me. I mean, he hit a big home run to help beat the Red Sox last night. I'm happy about that. I'm happy when the Yankees beat the Red Sox. So even if it's A-Rod that accomplished it, he might get a few more cheers tomorrow night. It
sounds like you don't want to fully say it, but it sounds like you're back in on A-Rod.
No,
kind of in on him.
I'm still as ambivalent about him as I basically have always been. But last night, all Yankee fans have rallied around the Yankee flag because that gutless worm, Ryan Dempster, career journeyman, because of what he did. He didn't just throw at Alex Rodriguez, Bill. He threw at the New York Yankees, at their legacy, at their uniform, at the greatest franchise in sports history, and that will not stand. I repeat, it will not stand.
All right, JackO. Well, we'll talk to you next time this heats up.
Awesome.
See you, buddy.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Target % off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Pod Center at ESPNRadio.com.
Peace out.
Hey, what you got there, Golick?
The new Subway Chipotle chicken melt with guacamole.
Man, that looks good.
Yeah, this new guac is really bringing the flavor.
Got one for me too, right?
Well, yes and no. Mostly no. Well, really, all no.
Try the irresistible new Subway Chipotle chicken melt with guacamole, juicy grilled chicken strips with Monterey cheddar, Chipotle Southwest sauce, and new guacamole made from ripe Hass avocados with just a hint of jalapeno. Subway, eat fresh.